I'm so excited to be here today with Marc Santa Maria. And for those of you that don't know, The Big Green Couch is a series brought to you by Pound, where we interview noisemakers from various industries. We chat with them, we pick their brains, we walk away with inspiration and hopefully a brand new friend for you guys. I'm so excited today because Marc is incredible, and I'm excited that you guys get to be a part of this conversation. Every time that I talk to Marc, whether it's 5 minutes or 25 minutes, I walk away feeling inspired. I walk away with ideas and movement, and I always walk away with these tiny little nuggets of information that I can implement into my daily life that make my life easier and better, which is a gift. So I want to tell you a little bit about this lovely man. First of all, he's been in the group fitness industry for over 20 years. He started as a law student who started going to classes at Crunch in New York City. He then became an instructor and quickly worked his way up the ranks at Crunch Corporate into the position that he's currently in today, which is the National Group Fitness Director, which is impressive all by itself. But Marc also in the last 20 years has directed plays, written screenplays, starred in commercials, started a blog, started a family. I could go on. He is so impressive, and he juggles all of those things so effortlessly and with grace and love and kindness, and at least from afar, it's just amazing. So I'm excited to pick your brain today and share it with the world.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really cool. I love this. I love this couch. I love being here with you.
It's a
and
medium
sharing
green
ideas,
couch.
sharing ideas and just growing.
Yeah. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about, so first of all, I was on Marc's website the other day, and on the top of your website, there's kind of three pillars, and the first one is actor, the second one is fitness leader, and the third one is family man.
Yeah.
That stood out to me because I think it says so much about you and how you value family and your relationships and the value that you place on those things. So tell me a little bit more about what the words family man mean.
Yeah, family man. Wow. I love that you're starting out with that, because it's probably the thing that it took the longest for me to get to. And it wasn't just because I have twin girls. They're 4.5, and they're gonna be rock stars like you someday. I just know it, I feel it. And then being a husband and developing your own family was obviously like a major step. Yet I then realized that within that you have your extended family, right? Like the people that you see regularly. Like there's that thing of who you see every day the most, and those who, even if they're far away, you're still in touch with them. They're that extended family. And then work family, which for me and I know for you, it's not even a work family. It's just family.
Yeah.
So deciding that to put out to the world to say, I'm going to admit it, I'm a family man, I really value that. It felt right, and it felt authentic because of the different levels that it has. And it's a big deal. I think so much of what we do and what we want to put out in the world is really about love. Yeah. And love starts with the people in your life. And that's where I realized like I'm forever a family man, and I'm not shy about it anymore.
I love it. Speaking of community, it's so important to both of us. At Pound, it's why we do what we do. Human connection drives what we do. And I have not only heard lots of stories, but personally been a part of you being so good at bringing groups of people together. You are so great at fostering and culturing communities and teams, whether it's in your personal life or your career, which, as you just said, are one and the same most of the time. How do you do it? How do you make it a priority, and how do you do it?
God, I'm listening to you and I'm like, God, is that what I do?
It is.
I hope so. And you know what I realized? Okay, I'm big on sort of alliteration. So community and connection, I think those two go hand in hand. And I ultimately really believe what every single one of us is about building connection, right? With ourselves, and then with the people around us, and community, and fostering that through real connection. And I say real because it's, sometimes I know I got into the habit of just trying to get things done, like that list, that proverbial constant to-do list. And I'd be missing out on really just feeling someone. Like right before we started, you looked me in the eye and I was like, okay, I'm here with you right now. This is really happening, and I can enjoy this. That's the other little factor. So when you put people first and you make them the priority, I say this a lot to my team. Like it's always about the people, even though we might be driving a business or we might be getting a project off the ground. Without the people who are involved and enjoying that, I don't know what the point is then. I mean, yes, there's money to be made. Yes, there's music to celebrate and dance to, but it's the people that you're with. And even when we were just getting ready and she was blotting the sweat off my face, like, I love your new friends, that I'm like, wow, this is your community and I'm in it and I get to connect with her and hear about her life. And that always feels good, and it makes things less scary when you're trying something new or putting something out there or doing something for the first time. Like we were just talking about family, and I still remember my daughters they were born early. They were twins, so one was 4.5 pounds and one was 5. And to hold them, I was nervous the whole time. But if you build your community, you have people around you, you admit that I'm scared, help me. What do I do? Right? We were talking about part of your community, Alexa's having a baby, and I know that she's reached out and told her friends, right? It's not immediate family, but it's that community that she's building.
Tribe.
Exactly, tribe, great word, your posse, right? All that, your team. It's a big deal. It makes everything worthwhile, even in the hard moments, especially. Because that's who you go to and say, get me a drink, let me cry on your shoulder, right? So it's all of that wrapped in one. That's why community is such a huge deal.
Yeah, and I hope I don't say the wrong number, but I feel like your girls have how many godparents?
Wow, okay, yes. So total Filipino thing, very Catholic probably too, is lots of godparents. There's 20. There are 10 for each. I love it. But it was strategic because I had some godparents. I hope they're not going to catch this, but some of them were like not as involved as the others, is how I'll put it. So just as a backup, there was some extras, and we strategically did it so there's partners, right? So like there might be like a husband and wife or 2 best friends. So one of them might nudge the other one like, hey, it's Hope's birthday, it's McKenna's birthday, we got to do something. Yeah, so lots of godparents.
So you have a built-in support system, not only for you and your husband, but your entire family.
Yeah.
And how incredible is that I'm sure every one of those people who you asked felt so honored to have that position in your life, but now you have people to lean on no matter what happens.
It's that community. I didn't even realize it, but that's what I wanted to make sure that my daughters have more than just these 2 guys who don't know what they're doing to help us along. Yeah, it was as much for us as it was for them, and I just got that now that that's another community.
Yeah.
That we were.
And that takes not being fearful of asking for help, which I think we all have a hard time with in life sometimes.
Yeah.
I also think that one of the best examples that I have, because I was a part of it, is just you come into town and you invite not just your close friends, you're inviting people from Crunch and you're inviting people from, other areas of your life, and you're bringing them together. And we always say this at Pound. I hate using the word shove, but when you shove 10 people in a room or 20 people in a room, and at first they might feel uncomfortable, but I'll never forget that one barbecue that I met so many people. And,
it was so fun.
People ultimately are what inspires us all. So I love that. Speaking of communities and all of the incredible things that you do, you juggle your career, you are on the road constantly. I'm pretty sure you've committed to living on both coasts, which I love. You're taking care of your family, you're teaching, you're managing a large team. What in the last 10 or 20 years, what game changers have you introduced into your life that have helped you with that balance and figuring out how to multitask in general?
Yeah, great question. I think the thing that I've employed the most is to trust trust the scenario. Even the trust, like sometimes it's like feels like a bad moment. Like to trust that there's probably something that we can learn from this.
Yes.
Right? Like in the history of our company, there's been so many different ups and downs, and that I think that just happens. And rather than going to like the ugly place of panic and freak out and liquor, I will try to go, okay, what can we get from this?
Yeah.
And just trust that this is only right now. This moment is so small in the big scheme of what we are in our lives and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? So that's probably the biggest lesson that I have to learn and relearn and reinforce and reintroduce. So many re's. And then tied to that is to then look at your team and really, I come at it as a place where how can I best serve these people so they can do their jobs in the best way possible, right? Because they're serving their communities, right? So in our fitness industry, there's so much service and love and passion that you're giving. And as a person in charge, right, as a leader, you want to make sure that your key leaders have that empowered feeling and yet taking care of them. Because sometimes they can't see that, just the other day I was talking to one of my my leaders here in Los Angeles. I was like, when's your day off? Like it seems like you're going every day, right? So to keep an eye out for that, like that's probably the big change, to realize that it's taking care of the team as well. And then probably last thing is timing. Timing, there I go with the T's again. Trust your team and the timing. The timing of things.
Both fans of
Think of the alliteration stuff, right? Timing, man, I swear, like, I feel like I'm learning so much from my daughters, and I keep using them as examples, but that was a long process, obviously, because we were two guys trying to have a baby. So and we were doing surrogacy, and it took probably about 4 to 5 years, and the timing of it in the first year was hard. We were just heartbroken so much, but then to trust that, okay, it's gonna work out if you really want something, right? And I think in life and business, to just trust that timing of it. And now we're like, thank God it didn't work out, because we were so not ready. Those things came when we thought we were ready.
So true.
Yeah, and so I think that's what I'd go to. Definitely the trust. Look at your team constantly, check in with them, and then trust the timing of it. Those are game changers for me.
I love it. Something just came up when you were talking through those 3 things, and something that I, out of the many things, find very impressive with you. You've been in the same industry for 20 years, and that's not easy. No matter how passionate you are about something, it's hard. And you kept saying re. It's like, you're just as passionate about it today as when, by the way, I totally missed something. Marc was one of the first 20-pound pros ever in the history of Pound. I can't believe I forgot that.
I love that.
So
that little.
Yeah, he's like, I got that. So I've known you for almost 10 years, and you're just as passionate now as you were then. It is that finding ways to re-inspire yourself, re-spark passions, and I think that maybe you don't know exactly what it is, but you do something in both of the areas in your life, whether it's waiting for a child to come into the world and trusting the timing of things, or finding ways to reignite your passion in your industry. Is there anything you can identify that has helped you other than just being super aware of it?
Identify, to reignite and re-spark.
Yeah.
Re-spark. Man, you know what? Sometimes it's as simple as like, go work out and brush your teeth, right? Sometimes like your breath is a little stank, like just to get that wake up. It can be as small as that, or like bigger things.
Yeah.
I was calling them me days. There was, I can't remember how long ago. There was a period I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and it was sort of like a like, whoa kind of moment.
Yeah.
And I, after like the surgery and all that kind of stuff, I realized like, wow, you have to give back to yourself. So I started doing these me days, and they were really like sometimes small, things, but me stood for Marc Entertainment. So whatever your name is, you can still come up with your own. But whatever entertained me for that day, and it was usually when I'd have to do like these cancer checkups where they do like CT scans and draw blood, and then so I would go and treat myself and do something, you know, that honored what made me feel happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. My husband jokes around a lot. He's like, Marc's really good at giving back to himself, and it takes those little things like, you know, I hope people don't need to have cancer to have them realize that. I hope me telling you now that you deserve, whether it's a me hour or a me moment, you know, it could be a tiny little break, like I said, brushing your teeth, or something really big like getting a massage or whatever, or hanging out with a friend and getting a drink and watching the sunset.
Ugh. I mean, in general, I think what you just said, you realize the value of taking care of yourself, and because you've been so good at that, whether it's through gentle reminders in your life or whatnot, you've been able to serve people that much better, and it's very apparent.
It helps.
Amazing. There's another thing that you have mentioned to me that I found really interesting when we talk about multitasking and the fact that that word has kind of got a bad rap in the last couple of years. You use the concept of pulling focus, and I found that to be really interesting because some of the girls in the office are like, are you listening? Because I can literally like listen to a song, write an email, read half a page in a book, and be on a conference call, which is not smart, and I'm not recommending that to anybody. But you have to multitask, especially if you have a family,
absolutely,
a job, whatever it may be. So talk to me more about that concept and how you bring it to your life.
Yeah, multitasking. I think some people might be born with a natural ability to juggle a couple things, right? You mentioned all those different things you can do at once, and I know for some people they can't do that, so that's when they run into trouble. So trust your natural strengths first off, right? So you don't have to cultivate this skill, but if you have it, you know, it was getting a bad rap. So much of like saying be in the present moment, do only one thing at a time, right? Like your phone reminds you, are you driving, or are you like, and you're like, no, I'm not driving, I'm the passenger, right? And again, I'm not recommending all these things to do, but that gets the norm. But I will say, I think it is really useful in key scenarios, right? For me, it might be because you have different projects, right? Or you might be in charge of a set and you're directing it. So he's got to think about some of the things like the camera, the sound. You're juggling, like, am I shiny and sweaty? Is there a truck driving by? You have to do all those things in that moment and think of that, right? So it's not inherently a bad thing. And then for us with multiple projects, you've got a video that launched yesterday, you're doing this today, you've got to come up with new choreography, you've got some icons you need to check in on, right? So you have to balance that stuff. So my big recommendation, even if you're not a natural multitasker, you probably have different things that you have to do in your life, and they have to get done. And a habit that I was really bad at was I would not stop until something was done. Like a classic one for me was the email inbox. Like I just couldn't stand when it was like over 100. You
have OCD over that stuff?
I'd spend the whole day, and I realized, I'm getting shivers telling you this because it was a big thing. It's such a little thing, but it was a big thing.
PTSD, email PTSD.
Mondays, I'd go in the office and I would try to clear the inbox. I'd answer everything, and it was so inefficient. So to be able to say, okay, I'm going to answer the 10 most important ones, right? I can see, like, you tag them typically for certain people you got to answer. And then I'm going to focus on the project that really matters. And I'm going to give myself, whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, make some progress. Then because I've got that OCD, I'm going to come back, 5 more emails, right? Then I'm going to only give myself 10 minutes. Then I'm going to take just a minute and just breathe for a second, right? It's all those little things, giving back to yourself, right? I'm weaving that in.
So smart.
You gotta, those little tricks, that's a form of multitasking, right?
Yeah, but instead of thinking of it as I'm doing multiple things at once, instead you're saying pull your focus into this one area and live in the moment.
That's right.
Whether it's going out to lunch with your husband or giving your kids 20 minutes of playtime or answering 10 emails, I've got the blinders on. That's so good.
And that's probably the one caveat I throw in is that with pulling focus, when you're with a person, I really try to do this, and I'm not always good at it, but to say, I'm going to be with that person just right now. Even though like ding, your phone bings and you're like, I
Yeah.
know I got to answer this person, right? Like last night, it was so great. She was like, hey, do you have time to talk? And I made it seem like, here's the honest truth. I made it sound like, oh, I've got meetings. And the meetings was with my daughter, it was my husband.
Those are
it was with the
important.
thing. I was like, I'm going to honor that, right? And rather in a business setting, I was going to say, I got to play with my kid. But I wanted to honor that moment and still be true to then you. Like, cool, 7:30.
Yeah.
I'm yours,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to answer emails at the same time or try to saute the broccoli or whatever I was doing, right? It's all those things that you have to do, and
It's
I think
really
people,
smart.
you make the priority still.
I like it. Pull focus, everybody. Okay, so going back to your website, on the very top it says hashtag live, love, large. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Live, love, large. And you explain that it's your personal personification of your personal purpose.
Yeah.
And I know that for both of us, understanding your purpose and your why is so important. We talk a lot about this in Pound and our trainings and social media and beyond, because I believe that if you wake up in the morning and you don't understand your purpose and why you were put on this earth, life can become a little bit more complicated, and you might lack focus or direction. And when you wake up and you're like, I'm here to make bubble gum or make people's lives better, whatever it is, every decision is easier to make. You have direction, you have focus. So tell me how those 3 words came into your life and how and why they represent your personal purpose.
Yeah, God, I love that I get to talk about these things. So thank you again. This is so
I
cool.
love it too. I feel lucky to pick brains like yours.
Yeah, and then I'm already re-inspired and re-sparked, so just thank you. So purpose, so important. Sometimes I'll go into a meeting or a project is being pitched and I'll say, why are we doing this? And it comes back to the why. And more times than not, it has to do with a love of something. Mm-hmm. And I think as instructors and like inner rock stars, like you like to do things big, right? So that's where the phrase "live, love, large" came from. If I'm about love, I want to do it big, and I want to embody it. So I want to live it, right? So the last part, large, and again, I clearly love alliteration. LLL, live, love, large. And originally, it was interesting. It was for me for a while. It was live life large, but I realized life is actually love for me. And luckily, I've had enough experience to make me not shy and feel like I'm corny and some crystal person that's like, hey, love, peace, man. But it's not that. It's I want people to understand that you can. That's the foundation and the fundamental purpose of what we're all here for is love. And then you might as well do it big your way, right? Like it doesn't have to be like in your face kind of thing. It definitely can be
just
a more
true.
subtle thing. You know, the fact that he reminded us like there's water, you can drink it. Like that was sharing love, right? And then sometimes we're like the in your face love, right? To inspire people. And I think all that, your big way of sharing and fostering love, that's really our purpose. Every single person on this earth, that's what I really believe. And if we can help people figure that out, even in the business setting and in the commercialism world, I think that's how we're giving back. Like I love being associated with Pound because that's what you're awakening. As soon as they strike the ground, they're awakening that love of life. They're making noise. That's why this is so cool. I'm getting shivers, tell you, noisemakers. That's really cool. What is the noise that we're trying to say? We're saying, like, share the love that you have of music and life and being. So, God, thank you. Thank you for letting me say that out loud.
I love it, and I think that just through you explaining that, somebody who might be listening is going to understand if they're not there, if they don't understand how you do get there. And it might even be through one word that you choose to kind of bring to your life every day. And I love how you shorten things and you theme things so that you can easily be reminded of them. Right. You told me you pick like a tarot card at the beginning of every month. And no matter what you practice or what you believe in, I truly believe in that if you ask for a sign or you want to hear something or need to hear something, and whether it's pulling a card or listening to music or lyrics or going to church, whatever it might be, you're gonna get what you need.
That's right.
And you take a picture of it and you place it on the back of your phone, or on the back of your phone.
The screen.
He glues it to his iPhone. But those gentle and soft reminders, like, we're all really busy, a lot of things happen. I don't know how many times a day I get caught up in things that I don't want to get caught up in, or in thoughts, and just glancing down, or seeing a Post-it note on your mirror, or your 3-word hashtag. Those are things that can keep us on track with our purpose and what we believe in. So I love that.
That's why I love your HQ. You have all these little reminders of like being light and love in a rock star fashion.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I love a good quote.
Me too.
So speaking of rock star fashion, a little birdie told me, I'm scared,
I know.
that you used to sneak into dance classes at Crunch way back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So I want you to tell me how your rebellious nature has led your intuition to bigger changes or opportunities or things in your life.
Yeah. Ooh, good question. I would for sure sneak in and pretend that I belonged. I didn't have
I've never done that
for
before.
a membership at the gym at the time.
We love you, Crunch.
I know, thanks, Crunch. Little as you know, I'd run your department someday. But yeah, I would sneak in because I was going to law school at the time at NYU, and I had a student membership that was like a 2-week trial or something. And they had these phenomenal dance classes, so I would just walk in once the membership was over and just pretend to be like, hey, what's up? And just keep going.
Here's my card.
Until I was able to afford the membership. So thanks, Crunch. I think that now that you brought it up, I'm thinking about the other times that I've had to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And even I was at a law firm for a year, and to quit when I did and say, okay, I can pay off my law school loans and pay the rent by doing fitness and doing dance and maybe trying some acting. Like that was scary, and at the time my parents thought it was they were so upset because I was helping them out a little bit with money, and my mom was passing out my business cards like, he's a lawyer in New York City, and all that had to stop. And so to have that disappointment and deliver that, I think what I would say is to trust your gut. Like I think you start to feel weird if you don't do something. Either your heart beats fast, or you feel awkward, or look at the signs in your body is talking to you constantly. And there are times when you're sweating just because you're slightly nervous, like I am now. But or like it's really like, God, you can't eat, you can't sleep. Something is
driving
off.
you. Absolutely. And I can't remember who I was talking to about this the other day, but somebody was saying, so many people ask, like, how did you start something, or how do you start something? And the answer, I think, is listening to that tiny thing within you and then not questioning it. I think what the person was saying was, I have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Like, I love my bed. It's hard to, it's not that I don't want to get out of bed, it's just cozy.
Yeah.
And so she's like, this concept that you don't think about it, you just step out of your bed.
Right.
And I think we have to take that and to listen to our rebellious nature and then just do it.
Even if it's just that one step, taking your foot out.
Because the reality is that a lot of people will tell you not to do it or guide you, but you kind of just have to go with your gut.
Yeah, that's why I'm less about talking to people about it. Just talk to yourself.
Yeah. That's so huge, and I don't want to guide people to not talk to people.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying.
No, but it's like you do have to be really selective with where you bring your thoughts and ideas. And even, like, I told my mom so many times about Pound, and she was like, what?
That face.
She's like,
right?
You're crazy,
like
whatever. But don't let that get you down. Let that inspire you, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're going to get that. And my mom
that'll
questioning.
trigger a thing. That reaction, that facial expression, it'll also, if you pay attention to it, go, oh, I'm going to do it now.
Yeah.
I'm going to really do it now.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, you don't want me to eat that? I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Sorry, Mom. I love you. Okay, so here's the end where we ask you a bunch of funny rapid fire questions.
Fine.
But before we do that, is there anything that you want to share with our community? You're a part of our community. You've been with us from the beginning. You're a huge part of the group fitness world. A lot of our people take classes. A lot of our people teach, obviously.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share with the community or leave with our community before I go into crazy questions?
No, just keep having fun. Keep rocking out. I mean, this community is amazing. And you inspire so many people just when you show up and you smile. And that joy is palpable. So keep doing that. It
Have
inspires
fun.
me. Yeah, have fun.
Have fun, be silly. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, you ready for this?
Oh yeah, love this shit. I mean, stuff.
My mom says sugar.
Love this sugar.
Oh, sugar.
Oh, I love this sugar.
Okay, book that you're currently reading right now.
Becoming Michelle Obama.
Oh my gosh,
It's so good.
it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I talked about this. Get through the first 20 pages. It starts off a little slow, but then it gets really, 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 really good. So.
Oh yeah, they're dating. They just went to Oahu.
They're dating. That's a whole nother conversation. I love that woman. Why did you decide to teach group fitness?
Oh, why did I decide to do group fitness? At the heart of it, because it was fun. I needed to work out. My family showed their love through food, so I was a chubby kid, and man, I needed to work out. And so, when I found classes,
Necessity.
it was absolutely fun. And I love music. And so to teach to music and to move in sync with people, it's so powerful a feeling.
Yeah.
And it was a rush.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite things about the community is seeing people who, didn't think they would end up there, but when you go through that personally, you want to bring it to other people, and that's why so many people begin teaching. Going back to books, if somebody was not super into books and you were going to give them one to begin with, what book would it be?
That's good. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep by, God, I'm blanking on his name, but look it up. It's a distinct title, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a, it's like Marc something.
Yeah, you'll find it if you Google
It's so great because it basically tells you that it's okay to not give a bleep about many things, and you got to choose what you really give a bleep about.
Yeah.
A sugar about.
A sugar. Your go-to dance move.
Oh, go-to dance move? Man, I guess it's a kick and land. It's sort of like an old school hip hop. It's like you kick it and you land it, and you kick it and you land it.
I love it.
Little arms. Yeah, I love go-to hip hop.
The best dancer. I think we danced for like too long at a wedding once. Your favorite pound track?
Oh gosh, I will always go to Faint, Linkin Park. And that was part of the original. It never gets old for me.
Yeah.
And
that brings back memories.
That.
Yeah.
So good. And then, well, on a secondary one, Method Man, Redman, the Rock Wilder.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought back, I know you only asked for one, but the Veronica's Untouchable or something.
Yeah.
That's a great track.
Yes.
And you're doing like some lunge arm work
Hopefully.
there. It's pretty hot.
It's always nice to bring back the oldies and goodies and have people be like, I never knew of this person or that person. Yeah. Also, Faint, I have vivid memories of taking it out of class at Crunch and a woman yelling at me.
Yeah.
She was like, no, you cannot take that out. I was like, oh crap.
It's your quintessential like
it's good.
floor track. I mean, it's so good.
That's a good one. Beer or the hard stuff?
Hard stuff.
I love it. That will lead us to going to a bar right now. I'm just kidding. Those are all my questions for you.
Thank you so much.
I'm so honored to spend time with you, and I think our community is going to love being a part of this conversation. If you guys have any questions about Marc or the conversation we had today, leave them in the comments below. Marc's website is marcsantamaria.com.
MarcSM, MarcsM.com.
Say it again.
It's a Marcism. MarcsM.com.
MarcsM.com. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next time.